Welcome back to the Accessible Art History YouTube channel. This week, I'm continuing our series on the top 100 works of art in history. Once again, I did my best to pick works that not only impacted our understanding of the act of human creation, but also shaped the artistic canon of their cultures and/or time period. Picking 100 works from all of the global art history is a big task, but I think it opens up an important discussion about what makes, quote, good art. So, to see what works I picked for works 95 through 91, keep on watching. To kick things off, work number 95 is this beautiful Socorro black on white storage jar. It dates to around 1050 to 1100 and was created by the ancestral Pueblo people of the American Southwest. These types of jars were essential for storing food, like maize, which was a staple crop, or water. However, they're not just practical, they tell a deeper story about the culture, craftsmanship, and community of the ancestral Pueblo people. The jar features a bold contrast between the dark black geometric designs on a light, unglazed background. The design is a mix of triangles, lines, and zigzags, which are carefully arranged in repeating symmetrical patterns. These geometric shapes weren't random, though. Our historians believe that the design represents water circulation beneath the earth and its precipitation from the sky. In an area as arid as the American Southwest, understanding where and how water could be found was crucial to society's survival. I chose this work to be included on the list because not only is it beautiful, but it represents the importance of communication and societal cooperation. Today, it can be viewed at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The next object on this list is connected to one of the most famous, or infamous, murders in the history of Western civilization. On the 15th of March, 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated during a meeting of the Senate. He was stabbed 23 times because some of the Roman Senate feared he was becoming too powerful. This significantly altered the trajectory of the development of ancient Rome and would eventually lead to the formation of the Roman Empire only a decade later. The Tusculan portrait of Julius Caesar is one of, if not the most important surviving sculpture of the Roman leader. The marble bust is believed to be one of the most accurate representations of Caesar, dating to around 50 to 44 BCE. What makes this work so significant is that it likely depicts Caesar during his own lifetime or very shortly after his death, capturing his true likeness before his features were idealized in later works. The portrait is notable for its realism, which aligns with the Roman veristic style, which emphasizes a more naturalistic and sometimes even harsh portrayal of its subjects. Caesar's features in this bust are stark, with a high forehead, deep-set eyes, pronounced cheekbones, lots of wrinkles, and a slightly receding hairline, details that contrast with the idealized image of leaders that became common during the early imperial period. The lines on his face suggest a man worn by time and responsibility, which conveyed not only his authority, but the toll of his years of service to Rome. Rather than something to be ashamed of, Caesar would have worn these lines as a badge of honor, showing the level of sacrifice and commitment he gave to his homeland. The portrait is now housed in the Museo d'Antica in Turin, Italy, and remains a key piece in the study of Caesar's legacy. Work number 93 on my list features one of the most famous faces of the 20th century. Marilyn Monroe represented glamour, beauty, and tragedy of Hollywood in the 1950s and 60s, and her image is immortalized in the Marilyn diptych. Created by pop artist Andy Warhol just weeks after Monroe's untimely death in 1962, we see the star's face painted over and over again. Half the work is in black and white, while the other is in vivid color. The effect is striking and almost confrontational to the viewer. Warhol used a publicity still from Monroe's 1953 film Niagara as a basis for the repeated image, a process that speaks to the mechanized and mass-produced nature of celebrity in the mid-20th century. The work blurs the boundaries between art and mass media and advertising, underscoring Warhol's fascination with fame and the cult of the celebrity. The repetition in the Marilyn diptych can be interpreted in several ways. On one hand, the repeated image evokes the relentless exposure of Monroe's public image in the media, emphasizing her status as a manufactured, consumable product instead of a person. On the other hand, the fading images in the right panel allude to the fleeting nature of fame and her fragility of her public persona. The contrast between the brightly colored, polished images and the decaying monochromatic ones suggests a commentary on superficial glamour. It's a striking statement that goes far beyond a simple publicity image. Today, you can find this work at the Tate Modern in London. The next work on my list is also considered a piece of modern art. In 1940, Dutch artist Piet Mondrian moved from London to New York, fleeing the horrors of World War II. He was captivated by the architecture and flow of the city and sought to capture it in art. The composition consists of a grid of yellow lines punctuated by small blocks of primary colors, red, blue, and grayish tones, that seem to dance across the canvas. The grid-like structure refers to the city streets, while the rhythmic arrangement of color blocks mimics the syncopated beats of jazz music, making the painting visually and conceptually dynamic. Unlike his earlier, more rigid geometric works, this piece feels more alive, musical, with a sense of movement and vitality. Its vivacity captures the imagination of the viewer, and it's hard not to smile while looking on it. Mondrian's use of primary colors and rectilineal forms was central to his philosophy of neoplasticism, a belief in creating harmony and order through abstract visual elements. However, Broadway Boogie Woogie introduces a more playful, less severe sense of structure and reflecting the urban landscape and spirit of modernity in the mid-20th century in New York. His painting can be seen as a celebration of the city, particularly drawing energy from Broadway and the rhythmic pulse of boogie-woogie jazz that Mondrian enjoyed. Today, you'll find this piece in the Museum of Modern Art. The final work of this video is a personal favorite of mine. Dating from around the 9th century, the reliquary of Sainte Foy is a fascinating religious object. On the outside, she is decorated with precious gold and jewels, but on the inside, there's a piece of the martyred saint's skull. Saint Foy was martyred at the age of 12 during the Roman persecution of Christians under the Emperor Diocletian. According to legend, she refused to offer sacrifices to pagan gods and was executed for it. Standing at approximately 33.5 inches or 85 centimeters tall, the reliquary is covered in gold leaf and adorned with precious stones including amethysts, emeralds, and sapphires, many of which were donated by pilgrims over the centuries. The face of the reliquary is particularly striking. It features a gold mask that likely dates to the Roman period, and it might even be an emperor. This predates the rest of the sculpture and gives it a haunting, archaic presence. I personally find it fascinating that the artisan chose to reuse an image of a likely pagan ancient emperor to be the face of a saint. The overall design is a seated figure representing Saint Foy in a regal and static pose, resembling a Byzantine icon or even a Roman imperial statue. The saint's wide open eyes give the impression of an otherworldly presence, emphasizing the divine nature of the relic within. Her crown and throne-like seat further emphasize her sanctity and status as an intercessor between the divine and the mortal. It's hard to meet her eyes, though. One can truly feel the saint's power. This makes it an excellent representation of a medieval reliquary for our list. Today, the reliquary of Saint Foy is still in her church located in Conques, France. So far, it's been a blast counting down my top 100 works of art. It's also been really hard to try and organize all the works that I think are important into some kind of order. What do you think of my choices so far? Let me know in the comments below.